So one of the things I'd like to spend just a moment on is to think about, why does hope matter? Why should we really be concerned about how to nurture and restore hope? First of all, are these important mental health outcomes. Significant gains in well-being, emotional regulation, coping, etc., reduced depression and anxiety. We see tremendous gains in health-seeking behaviors. We see tremendous gains in engagement that individuals and families have within systems, for instance. We also see a greater sense of connectedness. Oftentimes when families begin to engage in our systems, there's this intense feeling of aloneness or isolation. And what we know is that when we take on these strategies to nurture hope, we see significant improvements in these positive relationships. And I think as important as any outcome are what we see for youth. We see tremendous gains in educational outcomes, attendance, engagement in learning, graduation rates, college going rates, etc. But more importantly, as we start to think about what it means to become a hope-centered organization or a hope-centered courtroom, is that the language of hope, the science of hope, provides this unifying language across these multidisciplinary teams, which really what we find in the research is that by introducing the language of hope, we see significant improvements in trust on these interdisciplinary team members. We see significant improvements in communication and certainly significant improvements in cohesion. Because workforce well-being and burnout has been at the forefront of our nation for the last few years, we've really been focused on, when we nurture hope, when we take the workforce, the employees, through this hope training, what we see are significant improvements in burnout. So, for instance, in a comparison group, what we see is that employees who go through our hope training report significantly reduced rates of burnout. Why does that matter? Because as we begin to nurture hope, you can see these profound decreases in hope. And what this helps us understand is that for a hope-centered organization, it's really about beginning the work and moving the needle, because at each stage of hope, what we see are profound improvements in these reduction of burnout. Similarly, and pretty much in closing of this brief overview, what we see are these tremendous gains in staff and employee well-being, again, at every stage along the way. So one of the highlights of the training is to create these intentional processes to nurture and restore hope, but really from a realistic perspective that you don't have to completely solve the problem as you begin. It is literally a focus on moving the needle, has profound outcomes on staff. Burnout, tremendous gains in well-being, and then ultimately in the retention of effective employees. So this will be the focus of the leadership training, is to really think about how to begin to use the framework of hope to create hope-centered organizations.